Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to take a few minutes to do a little recap of this contract. Today was my last day. It's been 6 weeks here in the New Orleans area of Louisiana. And I just kind of wanted to go over what the good, the bad, and the ugly was. What I do differently. And so just kind of do a little wrap up and share what it was really like to be here, what I learned, and what I would do differently if I came back. So to begin with, I took the contract because I love Louisiana. I love the North Shore of Louisiana. I'm actually from there. I still have property there, and I have family, and I've lived there a lot, and it's kind of my old stomping ground. So I have favorite bands, I have favorite restaurants. I feel really at home. And so sometimes it's really nice to spend some time at home. So that's really why I was focused on that. But I had the opportunity of doing something that I've never done before, and that's staying on the South Shore, which is the New Orleans side. Okay. And so this contract was, I stayed on the New Orleans side. And the office was in Metairie, but most of my work was done on the West Bank and in New Orleans. So I got a chance to see a lot of areas that I really didn't see before because, to be honest, when you're on the North Shore, you don't come over to the South Shore. There's a 24-mile bridge, and you have, over there we have our own stuff. I mean, we come over here for, the red dress runs, things like that, these big events, but not necessarily just to hang out, not to even really ride bikes or anything. So I was excited to come. This contract did meet my minimum pay, which is $2,500 a week. That is my minimum. And because my goal is to save money so that I can retire. I'm all of us, I would say most of us are working for the money, and that includes me, but I have financial goals. I have a house that I pay a mortgage on. I have taxes, I have insurance, I have, all these things. And in order for me to save money so that I can one day retire and not be living in poverty, um, I have a certain minimum that I need to make. And it's realistic. I mean, that's why I do home health. In home health, it is realistic to get $2,500 a week. A lot of contracts are less than that, but it is realistic. So the housing here is reasonably priced. I paid like $1,600 for this apartment, which it's clean, but nothing works. I mean, I think I've pointed out in the videos that stove right there is a gas stove, but there's no gas to this apartment. The microwave doesn't work. The dryer just was fixed. The lights didn't work for the first month in this kitchen. But it doesn't have roaches, and it's safe. It's in a very safe neighborhood, which is really number one, number two, and number three for me. I personally do not rent rooms in people's houses. There are some people who do. I would feel very uncomfortable with that. Plus, I have 2 dogs, and I have a house at home. I'm not used to living with people, strangers, and people. But I mean, there are people who've had great experiences doing that. It's just not me. So I rent apartments, houses, that kind of thing. What I liked best about this area was the patients. So the patients were wonderful. The patients are usually really good because they're just great patients, but these were wonderful. They were sweet. Some of them were very complex. They had a lot going on, but for the most part, almost all of them were wonderful. They offer you things to eat and drink, and, they're thoughtful. There's always those ones that are, there's always those people, but they were rare. And so I really enjoyed the patients. I had several that were in their late 90s and even in their hundreds, who were just adorable. And it was a pleasure and an honor, working for them, to be honest. just an honor. So that was probably the best part of the contract, was the wonderful patients and coworkers. The management here, it's the name of the agency is Alara Caring. The management was really nice. They were good. They were organized. I've worked for people that weren't, but they had it together. And the reason that they don't have staff here is not because of the management and not because they're chaotic. It's just hard to get nurses to work in this area, which I'm going to go over in a minute. So another great thing about coming here, if you're thinking of taking a contract in Louisiana, wonderful thing is the local attractions and things going on. Of course, there's the French Quarter, the French Market, all that whole area. Lots of things to do. I went to farmers markets on the weekends. I biked every day, almost every day when the weather was okay to do it, and sometimes when it wasn't okay. And there was great biking trails. It was just it's a good environment for those things. I was here towards the end of the Jazz Fest. I didn't go to the Jazz Fest, but there's always something going on over here. And people here are very sociable. So, I met neighbors. People were very nice to me. So I enjoyed it. Some of the challenges were, this apartment was a challenge because I was constantly having things broken and people coming in this apartment to fix things and having to put the dogs up and all that. Another challenge was the commute. I felt like the roads here are horrible. And the traffic is not worse than anywhere else, but the roads seem like spaghetti to me. I mean, they go in all directions, and it's like this. I mean, you turn in here, they've got a stop sign, and then, the water washed away the lines in the road, and you can't see if this is one way or, you have to. And so I thought that the roads were difficult. And, it's not uncommon for you to have to cross 3 lanes of traffic in less than a mile so that you can exit on the next exit, because it's just crazy. And then another negative, which, is going to be for Louisiana in this coastal area, of course, is the rain. It rains all the time. I'm doing home health, so I'm constantly in the rain and driving in the rain. I did not love that. I didn't like it at all. And we had some bad rain a couple of days ago, like storms, which flooded out several coworkers' houses. I mean, flooded it out so that they've got water up to their knees, and couldn't get to patients. It was just, it's just difficult weather here. I feel like, that's one of the reasons I left the North Shore. I'll be honest with you. It reminded me why I left. And the reason is because of the water, the flooding. Anytime it rains hard, the roads are flooding, and, you got to worry about if you're going to get home, and if your driveway, if you can get down your driveway. And so that's a real big challenge. But overall, it was only a 6-week contract, like I said, and usually they're 13. So it was only 6 weeks. And I did pretty well financially, with the housing costs being, a little lower and reasonable, the pay being decent. I think I was able to save like $3,000 in 6 weeks. So that's not bad. Duplicating my expenses and everything. So it was worth it. I definitely wouldn't be able to save $3,000 in 6 weeks working as the staff job, which is why, one of the big reasons I'm traveling. So yes, it is worth it. And if you're trying to meet financial goals, if you're in your 50s like me and you're trying to retire one day, it's a good reason to travel. So my last contract I stayed actually for 6 months, because it was 2 13-week contracts. And so I did the first one, and then I renewed for another 13 weeks, and I saved like $20,000. But, I don't go out a whole lot. I spend my time riding my bike and walking my dogs, and it's not like I'm buying a lot of stuff and spending a lot of money. But I did save money, so there you go. I mean, that's a good reason. If you are in your 50s or your 40s and you're trying to retire, to do travel nursing, and home health travel nursing is one of the, like I said, higher paying. So my advice coming to this area, if you're going to do home health, first of all, make sure what location you're going to be working in. My contract was for Metairie, but I was working in New Orleans, and I was working on the West Bank, and I was working in Algiers and Gretna. And I'll be honest with you, I was not comfortable working in those areas. I was not comfortable. I did not want to stop at gas stations. There was a lot of, homeless people and people that, look like, they don't mind having some of your money. And definitely not. And I felt like it was unsafe. And this area is known for high crime. And you can see that it has a lot of crime, bars on the windows. A lot of patients have bars on the windows. So there's a reason for that. Matter of fact, a patient was telling me today how, and she lived in a nice neighborhood, that people were breaking into the cars and stealing, and that her son or her grandson actually parked outside her house. It wasn't a bad area, but he saw some people walking up, and he threw his backpack in the woods that were like in the bushes next to where he was walking, trying to go in the house, because the people were coming to rob him, and they did. So, but they didn't get his backpack because he was smart enough and he threw him in the bushes. So if you're coming to this area as home health, ask where you're going to be working. And honestly, I could have probably renewed, but I wasn't going to renew for 6 more weeks or any more time here, because I don't feel comfortable in these high crime areas nowadays or anytime. But if you're working in a hospital, it's another story. Just be careful where you're getting your apartment and your housing. Metairie is one of the nicer areas to get housing, but I would definitely look into that. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. I had a great time. Next, I'm going to Texas. Actually the same company, Alara Caring, has an office there in Fort Worth, and I'm going to be taking over and doing a lot of that south area that I love. I've worked over there. It's a wonderful area, rural Texas. So looking very excited about some of my bike rides that I'm going to do. I found a place, I think I mentioned in other videos after I almost got scammed. I found a great place to rent, hopefully. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going over there. And in a great little town called Granbury, which has lots of stuff, lots of festivals. It's one of those little towns. So I'm really looking forward to it. Tomorrow, I'm loaded up my bike, and everything's in the truck except a few things. So I'm just going to hop in my truck in the morning and hopefully be home and in time for, running around with my sister and going to have a margarita. But there won't be a Abita beer. There's no Abita beer hardly over there. It's hard to find Abita beer, so I will miss my Abita beer. So anyway, if you're a nurse over 50 and or not, I'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions or comments about this area, about this contract, anything, just let me know, and just put it in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer. Anyway, it was a pleasure being here, and I'm glad I came, and I'm excited about the new adventure coming up. So anyway, cheers.